1970 wasn't just another year in music, it was a turning point. From anthems that lit up the airwaves to bold statements that challenged the world, these songs became the soundtrack of a generation. Join us as we count down 20 tracks that didn't just define the year, they defined an era. Number 1. Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. From the opening piano chords, Bridge Over Troubled Water unfolds like a cinematic sunrise. Gentle yet commanding, swelling into a full gospel-infused crescendo that feels almost larger than life. Paul Simon's tender songwriting meets Art Garfunkel's soaring vocal in a moment of pure alchemy, the kind of performance that seems to stop time. At a point when rock was growing heavier and more rebellious, this track offered a different kind of power, one rooted in grace, empathy, and emotional weight. It wasn't just a chart-topping single, it became an anthem of reassurance in a turbulent era, winning armfuls of Grammys and etching its place as one of the definitive ballads of the decade. Number 2. The Beatles, Let It Be.
When the broken-hearted people
Bathed in warmth and quiet resolve, Let It Be carries the weight of farewell without sinking into sorrow. Paul McCartney's plaintive melody drifts over Phil Spector's lush production, creating a hymn-like calm that contrasted sharply with the band's behind-the-scenes turmoil. By 1970, the Beatles stood on the brink of dissolution, yet this single offered a final, unifying moment. Simple, direct, and deeply human. Its message of acceptance struck a universal chord, cementing it as one of the group's most enduring works, and a timeless reminder that beauty can emerge even in the closing chapter of a legendary story. Number 3. John Lennon, Instant Karma. Exploding onto the airwaves with urgency, Instant Karma was less a song than a rallying cry. Written, recorded, and released in barely over a week. It captured Lennon's knack for blending raw immediacy with a universal message. The driving piano, relentless backbeat, and Phil Spector's wall of sound production gave it a pounding momentum that matched the call to action in its lyrics. At a time when rock was experimenting with length and complexity, Lennon proved that 3 minutes of focused energy could hit just as hard. It remains a snapshot of an artist embracing his solo voice while keeping one eye firmly on the pulse of the world. Number 4. James Brown, Get Up, I Feel Like Being a Sex Machine. From the very first beat, Get Up, I Feel Like Being a Sex Machine locks into a groove so tight it's practically unshakable. James Brown, backed by his newly formed JBs, strips funk down to its bare essentials. Rhythm on the one, bass and guitar snapping like clockwork, and every horn stab landing with precision. The track isn't just music, it's a masterclass in control and release, a hypnotic pulse that refuses to let go. In 1970, this wasn't background noise. It was a blueprint, shaping the sound of funk, R&B, and beyond for decades to come. Number 5. The Temptations, Ball of Confusion. That's what the world is today. Psychedelic soul at its most urgent, Ball of Confusion barrels forward with a restless energy that mirrors the chaos of its time. The Temptations trade rapid-fire lines over a swirling backdrop of wah-wah guitars, pounding bass, and blaring horns, each verse cramming in headlines and hard truths without pause. It's a track that refuses to sit still, its very structure embodying the social and political turbulence of 1970. More than a hit single, it served as a sonic time capsule, capturing the sound of a world spinning faster than anyone could quite control. Number 6. Curtis Mayfield, Move On Up. Built on a propulsive rhythm that never lets up, Move On Up is both an invitation and a challenge. Curtis Mayfield layers bright horns, driving percussion, and an irresistible bass line beneath his uplifting call for perseverance, crafting a track that feels like pure forward motion, clocking in at over 8 minutes on the album. It's a journey as much as a song, one that marries the optimism of soul with the adventurous spirit of funk and psychedelia. In 1970, it wasn't just a groove. It was a declaration that progress, both personal and collective, was worth the climb. Number 7. Led Zeppelin, Immigrant Song. thunderclap of sound from the very first note, Immigrant song, charges forward with unrelenting force. Jimmy Page's razor-sharp riff and John Bonham's pounding drums create a wall of energy, while Robert Plant's piercing wail turns Norse mythology into pure rock spectacle. At just over 2 minutes, it's lean, mean, and utterly relentless. A battle cry that distilled Zeppelin's power into its most concentrated form. In 1970, this wasn't just hard rock. It was the sound of a band at the height of its confidence, conquering the airwaves one roaring verse at a time. Number 8. Black Sabbath, Paranoid. No frills, no wasted notes. Paranoid hits like a jolt of electricity and never lets up. Written almost on the spot to fill time on the album, the track became Black Sabbath's breakthrough, distilling their dark, heavy sound into under 3 minutes of pure adrenaline. Tony Iommi's iconic riff slices through the mix, Geezer Butler's bass growls beneath, and Ozzy Osbourne's vocals deliver a restless urgency that perfectly matches the song's uneasy mood. In 1970, this wasn't just another rock single. It was a blueprint for heavy metal, a raw surge of energy that still rattles speakers half a century later. Number 9. The Stooges, 1970, I Feel Alright. Chaos bottled and shaken until it explodes. 1970, I Feel Alright, is a collision of garage rock grit and unhinged abandon. The Stooges drive a single riff into the ground until it becomes hypnotic, layering in saxophone squalls and Iggy Pop's primal shouts like a soundtrack to a riot. There's no polish here, just raw, sweating urgency that feels more like an event than a recording. In the summer of 1970, this wasn't music designed for the charts. It was a shot across the bow, an unapologetic statement that the rules of rock could be bent until they broke. Number 10. The Velvet Underground, Sweet Jane. Cool, confident, and effortlessly catchy, Sweet Jane finds the Velvet Underground blending streetwise storytelling with pure rock and roll charm. Lou Reed delivers each line like he's leaning across a bar table, spinning tales over jangling guitars and a steady backbeat that feels tailor-made for late-night city streets. It's deceptively simple. Yet every chord change and lyrical turn oozes personality, revealing a band at ease with both grit and melody. In 1970, Sweet Jane wasn't just a track on Loaded. It was proof that rock could be both tough and tender, all in the same breath. Number 11. David Bowie, the man who sold the world.
Your fights to fight with the man who sold the world.
Steeped in mystery and shadow, the man who sold the world drifts between reality and dream. Its unsettling narrative matched by a brooding, almost theatrical arrangement. Bowie's vocal delivery walks a fine line between intimacy and detachment, pulling the listener into a world where nothing is quite as it seems. The guitars snarl with an undercurrent of menace, and the rhythm section moves with an almost hypnotic weight. In 1970, this track hinted at the fearless experimentation that would define Bowie's career, proving he could reinvent not just himself, but the soundscape of rock itself. Number 12. TRex, Ride a White Swan. Light on its feet, yet brimming with swagger, Ride a White Swan glides in on a buoyant groove that feels like a promise of something new. Mark Bolan's voice, playful and sly, dances over a hypnotic beat and chiming guitar, offering just enough sparkle to hint at the glam explosion waiting in the wings. There's a subtle magic here, a minimalist arrangement that somehow radiates charisma, inviting listeners into a world of style, mystique, and fantasy. In 1970, it wasn't just another single. It was the quiet spark that would set glam rock ablaze. Number 13. Joni Mitchell, Big Yellow Taxi. Bright, breezy, and deceptively sharp, Big Yellow Taxi wraps an environmental warning in a melody so infectious it's impossible not to hum along. Joni Mitchell's crisp guitar strumming and playful phrasing give the track an airy charm, but her lyrics cut with precision, lamenting the price of progress with a poet's touch. Every line feels conversational yet pointed, turning a personal observation into a universal truth. In 1970, this song proved that a protest could be both light on its feet and heavy with meaning, leaving its chorus echoing long after the needle lifted. Number 14. Elton John, Your Song.
this feeling shy.
Gentle and unassuming, your song drifts in like a quiet confession, its sincerity disarming from the very first piano notes. Elton John's warm, open-hearted delivery pairs perfectly with Bernie Taupin's intimate lyrics, creating a love song that feels personal yet universal. There's no grand drama here, just a simple, genuine expression wrapped in elegant melody and understated orchestration. In 1970, it marked the arrival of a new voice in pop music, one capable of pairing timeless sentiment with effortless craft, and it quickly became a cornerstone of Elton's legendary career. Number 15. Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, Ohio. Urgent and unflinching, Ohio arrives like a lightning strike, capturing a nation's outrage in real time. Written by Neil Young just days after the Kent State shootings, its opening guitar riff is sharp and insistent, immediately setting the tone for the raw harmonies that follow. The lyrics are direct, naming the event and demanding accountability without a hint of subtlety. Stephen Stills' guitar work and the tight rhythm section give the track a pulse that feels like both a march and a heartbeat. In 1970, Ohio wasn't just a protest song, it was an immediate call to action, proof that rock could respond to history as it happened and still hit with the force of a timeless anthem. Number 16. Neil Young, Southern Man.
Southern man better.
Blistering in both tone and message, Southern Man confronts America's racial history with a searing honesty rarely heard in mainstream rock at the time. Neil Young's vocal cuts through with urgency, his lyrics pulling no punches as they challenge deep-rooted injustice. The track stretches past 5 minutes, giving space for biting, extended guitar solos that underline the weight of its subject matter. The rhythm section moves with steady, almost militant precision, driving the point home without distraction. In 1970, it wasn't just a song, it was a bold, confrontational statement that sparked conversation and controversy, and proved rock could speak uncomfortable truths as loudly as it played. Number 17. Santana, Black Magic Woman.
Got a black magic woman.
Sultry and hypnotic, Black Magic Woman is a masterclass in fusion, blending blues rock guitar with the infectious pulse of Latin percussion. Carlos Santana's guitar tone is warm and fluid, each note bending and shimmering as if sung rather than played. Greg Rowley's smooth vocals carry a smoky charm, while congas and timbales add an irresistible undercurrent that keeps the track alive and moving. The transitions are seamless, shifting between intimate verses and instrumental passages that invite you to get lost in the groove. In 1970, it wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural bridge, proving rock could embrace global influences without losing its core fire. Number 18. The Whalers, Soulrebel. Cool and unhurried, Soulrebel moves with the easy confidence of a band finding its voice and a leader stepping into his role as a songwriter of depth. Bob Marley's vocal is calm but resolute, delivering lines of quiet defiance over a lean, hypnotic rhythm built from Aston Family Man Barrett's deep bass and Carlton Barrett's laid-back drumming. The production, guided by Lee Scratch Perry, leaves space for every instrument to breathe, giving the song a meditative quality that invites repeated listens. In 1970, it marked a turning point for the Whalers. Number 19. Kraftwerk, Ruck. Mechanical yet strangely organic, Ruck announces itself with a distinctive flute riff that loops like clockwork, slowly morphing over the track's hypnotic groove. Early Kraftwerk was less about synthesizers and more about creating a precise, motor-like rhythm from traditional instruments. And here, that precision feels almost trance-inducing. The interplay between percussion, bass, and flute creates a sound that's minimal but constantly evolving, drawing the listener deeper into its pattern. In 1970, Ruck was a glimpse into the future, a signpost for electronic, experimental, and even dance music that would flourish decades later. Number 20. The Kinks, Lola. Playful and sly, Lola wraps its subversive storytelling in an irresistibly catchy melody. Ray Davies delivers each line with a knowing grin, his acoustic strumming bouncing along beneath the steady rock rhythm. The arrangement is deceptively simple, bright chords, a sing-along chorus, and a driving backbeat. But the lyrical subject matter, addressing gender and identity, was daring for mainstream rock in 1970. Rather than hiding its message, the song leans into it with charm and humor, making it as thought-provoking as it is radio-friendly. In an era of big riffs and louder statements, Lola proved wit and subtle provocation could be just as revolutionary.